Hi, welcome to Rated In.
I'm Matt.
And I'm Rachel. And today we have finally made it to our northernmost destination on this trip, which is Sapporo in Hokkaido.
Mm-hmm.
We took a joyful train. We hung out in a Rust Belt city. We took an airplane, which was kind of a mistake. And now we are here.
Yeah, so we're going to walk you through that and just kind of do some catch up. So it's been about 3 days. I guess actually been 3 days.
Yep.
And we started the last leg of our trip here in Japan in Akita City, in Akita Prefecture.
Akita's really nice.
Yeah.
It's like really, it seems really livable.
Yeah, I think we talked about that last time a little bit too. And I think, up to that point, it was definitely like the most livable city we'd been. Mm-hmm. And now we're, as Rachel said, we're up here in Sapporo, Hokkaido, Japan, and this is a pretty nice city too. It's actually like 2 million people.
It is fourth largest city in Japan.
Yeah, and although I think Wikipedia said it was the fifth, so maybe it fluctuates a little bit. Our driver yesterday said it was the fourth, which is what Rachel's commenting on. Maybe feels a little like Denver or something.
Yeah, a little bit.
I don't know. It's hard to say.
No,
the city doesn't. I'm thinking size-wise, right? No, it doesn't seem like Denver at all. I don't know what I'm thinking. I'm thinking because Hokkaido kind of reminds me a little bit of Colorado or something.
Yeah, a lot of the... Well, we're getting ahead of ourselves.
Right. So we'll jump back, right? We're back in Akita. Mm-hmm. And
we are indeed.
We took our last joyful train. Not the last train trip, but this is that special sort of like limited runs that they have, and it was a slightly longer run.
Mm-hmm.
This one
all along the ocean, and then through some of the mountains. But I think the highlight is that it runs very close to the coast for several hours. Yeah,
it was about a 5-hour trip, this one, and we could have done it in about 3.5 or something like that if we would have taken the normal line. But we wanted to, it goes a little bit further up north, and it goes from Akita. It just follows the coast. If you look at a map, it basically goes up and then it connects into Aomori.
Aomori is a port city on the north side of Honshu, and
it definitely feels a little more depressed.
Yeah, it's a little bit more it feels a little bit more like a Rust Belt kind of city. I would say Aomori is the first place where we had kind of a janky hotel. And
well, we did decide, right, one of the things we did, right, you booked us a lot of awesome places, and we were, for some experience and for some budget, we booked kind of on both ends of the spectrum, right? We knew that one was a little bit more of a hostel type place, but with private room, private bath. Right.
And I mean, it's definitely, we were trying to sort of balance our budget. Ryokans are very expensive places to stay. They're very fancy. They give you great food, but it's not cheap. So in order to kind of make that more affordable, we've also stayed in some places like the one in Aomori. But I will say, as I was kind of scanning hotels in Aomori on Booking.com, most of the hotels there had terrible reviews. And so I'm not really sure that there were a lot of better options. Ours at least had, a very good breakfast. It was slightly fishy. Smelling.
Right, the smell, not the breakfast, because a lot of breakfast is fishy.
All the breakfasts are fishy.
Yeah, we walked into the room, and it was actually a big room, though, too.
It was big.
We had like 2 little chairs, a little table. We played some games. It had 2 twin beds again, which we've run into a few places here.
Yeah, it's
better
okay
for travelers.
I don't really like you that much anyway.
And the... But yeah, it had everything we needed other than the fish smell. Right. And the air conditioning was broken. That wasn't ideal.
Well, but it was okay because it was a cool day, so we just opened the windows.
Right.
Aomori definitely feels a little bit rougher around the edges. We started off by there's a museum that they have for this big festival that they have every year, and that was really cool. We posted some pictures of that to Instagram. They make these giant light-up floats and... parade them around the town in August. And
it's been going on since the 20s.
Yeah, it's kind of like a centuries-long tradition at this point.
Yeah, 1920s.
Yeah, 1920s.
And
well, it's not the 2020s yet.
Good point. And I'd actually, it's called Nobudo, I think.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of like representation of Chinese myths, actually.
Yeah.
And which I think holds a lot of sway here still, more than I maybe realized. But I'd seen a little snippet on the Nebuda, if it's Nebudo, maybe. Anyways, on a plane. There was like some little travel thing, and they were talking about Japanese places. So I like watched the little 20-minute video, and it looked cool. But it was like, but it was right next to the train station, and it was a cool building,
like
and it had
distance.
good reviews. So we went in, and it was way cooler than I thought. It wasn't huge, but these floats are amazing.
Yeah, maybe I'll post a few more pictures today just because, they'll be buried somewhere in the Instagram feed. And I haven't posted any of mine yet. But it really is, I'm really happy we went in there. And that was actually the main sort of like activity we did.
Yeah.
Other than finally getting sushi, which was exciting.
Yeah. Oh, the one thing I do want to touch on, right, is that like Aomori definitely felt a little rougher. It was the first place that, because every place we go, we end up talking to some people at least, and they're like, oh, why did you come here? And like when we ran into the people in Tsuruoka that were like, why'd you come here? It was like, it was still with pride. Like they were like, we like this area, but we're just surprised you're here.
Right. What are you white people doing here? We don't see.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't hostile. It was
no.
like,
It was just right. Yeah,
that's
more
weird.
surprised, I suppose. And but in Aomori, we went into a little like whiskey bar, and the bartender was very nice, and but he was a little more aggressive is the wrong word, but like not a normal Japanese self-deprecating. It was more like, why would you come here? This is not a very nice place.
Right. Yeah. It was definitely like, what made you come here to this crappy town?
Yeah. It was basically like, I wouldn't come here.
Right. Yeah.
And
it was sort of like, if you were a tourist in Toledo.
Right.
Sorry, Toledo.
Yeah, right. And we lived in Toledo for a while, for those that don't know. Well, outside of Toledo. We lived in Bowling Green. So, but yeah, we did stop and get sushi, and the sushi was like one of the 2 best sushi I've ever had.
Yeah, it was really, really good. And I mean, we knew we wanted to get sushi somewhere on the coast, obviously. And it didn't quite work out in Tsuruoka or in Akita, but so we found a great place in Aomori. They were really nice. They didn't speak a lot of English. I chose it because I looked at pictures online, and I could see that on the menu there was a couple of pictures, so you could just point like, I want this like sort of set of items. So we both ordered just like the sushi set. Like I ordered the sort of medium-sized one, and Matt ordered the slightly larger size one.
Yeah, and you had a couple rolls on yours.
Right.
And I had all just nigiri, which is just the piece of fish on rice.
On rice, yeah. So, but we sat at the sushi counter, so we got to see the sushi chefs making things, and it wasn't even like they did this because it was special. That's just where the 2 seats were that were in the place.
Right. But I'm super glad we did.
Yeah.
Because we got to like sit behind the counter
and what I didn't realize is that, and Matt had maybe known this already, but the sushi chef just puts the sushi on the counter in front of you. So it doesn't come out on a plate. It just...
Yeah, I think I'd seen that somewhere before. I wasn't expecting it, right? I suppose. And when I saw it, I was like, oh, right. But it was funny, too, because the people next to us just got a bunch of sashimi, which is like no rice. And it was basically just like the chef just kept putting piles of fish on the counter.
Yeah, exactly.
So that was pretty funny.
But
they were pretty heavy on the wasabi there.
Yeah, especially in one of the rolls, in the tuna roll, it was like, holy God. I'm not a huge wasabi person. I mean, I'll eat it when the sushi chef puts it in there because they think it should be in there. I will never add any additional on my own. Yeah, basically.
Right. And you like spicy food. It's just that, like, wasabi's it's a horseradish mustard adjacent,
it's got that
right?
kind of mustardy thing. I'm not a big mustard person. So,
but I do think, because I think he thought I was getting the one with the rolls because he put those in front of me. And I don't know if this is my imagination or not, but I've gotten the impression that a few places, they've tailored some of the stuff slightly to a male or female expected palate. So I think because I was getting the rolls, maybe I got more of that, but maybe not there. But I know last night, and we'll talk about this more. We had an awesome night last night in Sapporo, and yesterday we're going to talk about some of the stuff after a break here in a little bit.
We're also going to do a whole separate episode though on food and drink in Sapporo. So
so we'll get to that more.
We won't really be talking about that at all today. We're just talking about our aomori sushi, but don't worry, we'll tell you about the Sapporo food.
Yeah, we're going to go on at length because so far Sapporo has been a lot of fun. But anyways, we went out last night and we asked for 2 recommendations for sake, and we're doing actually better and better of using very little English. We're using plenty of English, but
our Japanese is getting. My ability to listen is, finally getting better. Of course, now that we only have a week left,
mine's still terrible.
But in both of our, we've sort of settled on the phrases that we need. Some of them at least, and what works and what's easily sort of communicated. So that's been kind of nice.
Yeah, and we're getting the numbers and enough of the counters and stuff like that people are forgiving. And I think because we're leading with that, they'll talk to us or not talk to us.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, of course, then you run into the problem sometimes is, when you come into a place and say something in Japanese, then they just talk to you in Japanese and you're like, oh shit. Yeah. I don't know what you said. But then you can usually kind of get things sorted out. People have been very nice in both in Aomori and in Sapporo. Super friendly, fun to talk to in sometimes our limited capabilities.
So the sushi though, we're all over the place this morning. The sushi at in Aomori though was really good. I want to highlight a couple things is that in the States, they often throw in a shrimp nigiri and you're like, they kind of put this in because it's less expensive and it fills the thing. And the shrimp came, and I kind of thought the same thing, but it looked a little different. It was much more translucent. It was like barely cooked, if cooked at all. And
it was.
But my God, it was good.
It was good.
It was, yeah.
I had shrimp at the conveyor belt sushi. You didn't, I don't think, but it was miles above the conveyor belt sushi.
And we've had a couple things that have cooked shrimp into them. And they're different. They kind of feel a little more like crayfish or something.
Yeah.
The shrimp, they're like little prawns.
Yeah.
But they're usually cooked to hell, and they're like chewy and like fibrous. And this thing was just like soft and sweet and very nice. It was really interesting. And we also had uni, which is sea urchin roe specifically, that Rachel's not normally a big fan of.
No, I mean, I've tried it. This was maybe my 3rd time trying it. And I still didn't love it, but this was the first time where I was like, like I can see why people like this. Every other time I've tried it, I've been like, I don't know why anyone would eat this garbage. It's sticky and abysmal and fishy and weird.
Yeah, it's like really loose snot. It's gross. I mean, the sounding, but I mean, it is. I understand why people hate it.
Mucusy, yes.
Yeah. And scallop. Aomori is known for their scallops.
Yeah, scallops were delicious.
Getting some additional scallops. Okate? No, something like that. We had to look it up. But yeah, that was a fun night. It was good. And so I think I enjoyed our stay in Aomori.
Okay,
but
sure.
If we come back through, I might just use that as the transfer point to come north.
Yeah, I mean, I might spend a second day in Akita because I feel like there was a lot more in Akita that I wanted to look at that I didn't get a chance to. I mean,
a lot of museums in Akita too.
The park was amazing, and I was really happy we did that. But especially because the weather was so beautiful. But yeah, I would like to explore Akita a little bit more.
Yeah, and we were in Akita on a Sunday night too, so it was pretty sleepy. But you could tell the city had vibrancy. There was a lot of places that looked closed because of Sunday, not closed because they were closed.
Right.
And the streets were big, and there was like the 6-way crosswalks or whatever.
Yeah, it seemed like a bustling place.
Yeah, so pretty fun. But yeah, we did make the choice or the decision to fly from Aomori to Sapporo because the Shinkansen doesn't quite go all the way up there. There is like a pretty fast train that goes the Shinkansen goes up halfway-ish. But it was going to be a pretty long.
Where? I mean, you gotta explain what city you're talking about.
From between Aomori and Sapporo, you kind of go through the circuitous route that goes like under the sea there, or between the two islands, and then comes up and goes a little bit to the east to Hakodate, and then you'd have to transfer trains, get on a slightly slower train, Hakodate to Sapporo. So we were going to be looking at like 5.5 hours of train travel.
6
hours.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It was a pretty long train ride.
We decided to fly between the two, and
It was a mistake.
yeah. Well, I let us get there way too early.
Right. The Aomori airport is tiny, so we really only needed to be there like a bit early.
Yeah.
So we had like 2 hours of just sitting. And for some reason, sitting in an airport is so much more frustrating than sitting on a train. Like, sitting on a train, you're at least like...
Well, you're physically moving. You know you're
right,
getting towards your
you know
location.
you're like headed
Yeah.
towards your destination. Sitting in an airport is just, I mean, it's just boring, especially when you're in a itty-bitty tiny airport where there's, like 50 chairs
Yeah.
and a like soft serve ice cream place. That's it.
Right. Yeah. The soft serve was pretty good.
It was.
We got that right at the very last minute.
Yeah, like 5 minutes before we boarded the plane.
Also, I thought it was interesting. The flight was delayed for 5 minutes due to weather at the Sapporo airport. It's not called Sapporo Airport, but New Chitose Airport. But they apologized like multiple times about it being 5 minutes late for weather, which I thought was interesting.
And we took off just at 2:15.
Yeah, we got on that plane and took off within minutes.
Yeah, it was the fastest boarding I've ever experienced.
All right, but then, we're going to wrap up there.
Yeah, I mean,
for this section.
That's basically, sort of what stood out about Aomori. It's a little bit of a depressed town. People were super friendly. Sushi was delicious.
Right. Somehow we still talked for 16 minutes about, like, that day.
Right.
Right?
We have a lot more to cover.
I know. We better chop.
Yep. One of the main things that we wanted to do when we came to Hokkaido was spend a little bit of time sort of doing nature kind of things.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't say we're the world's most outdoorsy people, but I do really like mountains. I grew up near the mountains, and so I wanted to check out some of the stuff that's outside of the cities. So what we did was we found a tour through Hokkaido Nature Tours, and we booked that. It was a private tour with just the two of us and a guide, and we headed into the mountains.
Yeah. Well, we should also add, I think we said this probably multiple times too, but Hokkaido was one of the impetuses for us coming to Japan. Is
right.
That you've gotten good at telling this to people, is that 17 years ago or so you read...
Yeah, Yasunari Kawabata, several of his books, but Snow Country is one of them, and it's all about Hokkaido, and so I was kind of fascinated with it from there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, people's faces light up when you mention you read it.
when I say that, yeah. When I was doing my master's degree, I really considered doing it on Japanese literature, but there wasn't necessarily anyone that I could work with at my university, so of course I went with CSI, crime scene investigation, instead.
Perfect.
Yeah, exactly. They're so similar. Anyway, so I wanted to come to Hokkaido for a long time. I would still love to come here in the winter and see all of the snow and ice sculptures. That would be really cool.
Yeah, but after this trip that we took, because we took it, you basically go from Sapporo. Sorry, I cut you off there.
No, that's fine.
Okay. So they picked us up at our Airbnb, and it's a 3-hour drive to the Daisetsuzan National Park.
Which is the biggest national park in Japan.
Yeah. And it's kind of you start in the city.
Yeah.
And then you go into some suburbs, and you go into like some country towns, and it's a lot of pretty flat. Through most of this, because I was actually reading this on the way back. I was reading about the history of Hokkaido.
Oh, okay.
Like why is Sapporo the capital?
I was taking a nap.
And because I was curious, like, because Hakodate was the first like port that opened up to the west.
Oh, right.
And that's why like Hokkaido in general is much more western than the rest of Japan, and it's also very new, because it wasn't until the late 1800s that it actually started really actively getting populated, and they started decimating the native Ainu population. So, but that's when they started setting it up. So it's a much newer place as well. So they actually have a grid system in the city. But you go through a fair amount of plains. Oh, so anyways, they moved it to Sapporo because it was more defensible.
Oh, okay.
They wanted to have the local capital be more defensible, and this is a big. I think maybe it used to be a lake, like a dried up, because it's called, what is it, Ezu or whatever, like whatever the native name. And actually, Sapporo, the town, is from.
I knew word.
Yeah, that means like a dry, large river or something like that.
Oh,
so
okay.
I think this was a big plain that was all flat, which you don't get this much of in Hokkaido, and that was another reason why this made good sense. So we drive through the plains. There's like rice paddies and little towns and cute, and then slowly the mountains start appearing on the edge of the horizon, all around you.
Yeah, they are all around you. So unlike the Rockies or something in Colorado, where it's the difference between volcanic mountains and fault line mountains, right? These weren't created all along the line, so we have them all around.
Yeah, right. And so then we went, city to plains to kind of foothills. The more that I would feel are more like Appalachian Mountains, and then into like dramatic peaks.
Yeah, it was really amazing, and we were fortunate with amazingly good weather. So we took a ropeway, which is just like a cable car. What do you want to call it? Cable car. That just took us up part way up Black Mountain, right? Kurodake. So we took the ropeway up there and got a chance to sort of get a really good 360-degree view.
Oh, yeah.
So you could see the mountains all around us. You could see all the way to a mountain that was near our guide's hometown, which was about, he said, like 200 kilometers away.
Yeah, and our guide was awesome.
He
was so friendly. I honestly felt like we were just hanging out with a pal all day and going on walks.
Yeah. He was, and he's very, he loves Hokkaido and is super proud of
his home area that's in the East Hokkaido, and he was kind of making jokes about it by the end. He was like, and of course this thing that I just said is great is from near my hometown.
Yeah, exactly.
So it was fun.
But yeah, so we had like perfectly clear skies. You could see mountains for literally hundreds of miles all around us, and so that was great. Initially the tour also included a chance to do a hike at that spot and hike up more to actually, if you wanted to go all the way to the summit of Kurodake, but there was still too much snow. The trail was snowed
closed,
in.
yeah.
So there wasn't, and the chairlift that would have taken us a little bit further up was also closed.
We're kind of here in the off season. Right now.
We're definitely
so this is kind of wet
season.
And
I think in another couple months you get a lot of wildflowers that would be gorgeous. In the fall, all the pictures of the fall colors were amazing, and then in the winter they're skiing. But
I got the impression it's just May that these things are closed, because he said the trail would open on June 1st.
Right. So
but the views were great, and we have pictures on Instagram, and they do not do it justice.
No, they don't
by any means. And Rachel did amazing on the cable car.
Oh yeah, I don't like heights. And keep in mind, I am the one that chose and booked this tour, so I knew what I was getting into.
Because it was like a big gondola.
Yeah, gondola.
Because you could get a good 30 people in that car. Maybe you'd be standing and not super comfortable, but it had like benches around the outside that would probably sit 15 to 20, a little cramped. So I mean, it was pretty big, but it goes up at a very significant climb, slope, whatever the hell it is. And so you're basically like just dangling as this thing like drags you up the side of the mountain. There's like this crazy slack, because it's just this like parabolic curve or whatever of the curved cable. But yeah, Rachel did awesome. The views were amazing on there. I wish they showed it better in the pictures.
Yeah, those pictures didn't come out great. So,
but that was only part one of the day.
It was. So since that hike was closed, the guide suggested another walk that he knew about down in the gorge. So Kurodake is kind of on the edge of the gorge, and then we went a little bit further into it where there are some waterfalls, and of course spring is actually the best time for waterfalls because all the snow melt is happening.
Is it Sonkyu Gorge or something like that?
Yeah, Sonkyo, because it sounded a little bit like Tokyo. Yes, so we parked, we looked at some waterfalls. Again, there's pictures of those on the Instagram. And then he was like, okay, we're going to go on this walk. It's abandoned road.
He did say it. He was like, if you're okay,
right,
if you're okay with this, he kept saying.
Right. We climbed over 2 barricades that, are blocking this road. It used to be like a sort of scenic drive.
It was the main highway.
And
is what he said. It was the main connecting highway up north, yeah.
There were some landslides, and someone died, and so they just closed the road entirely.
And dug a big tunnel
right.
instead.
So it's all overgrown. This former highway, there's still a couple of, not quite tunnels, but like protected areas that were supposed to keep people protected from landslides.
Well, it's right after one of them, which is where
it happened. Yeah.
And this was like in the mid 80s, I think he said, 87 or something like that. So it hasn't been that long.
But nature was definitely taking everything back, especially as we got further in and went over the second.
I did find that fascinating because we started and there was some weeds and stuff, but the road was still a road, and there was like a kind of a walking path, not really a sidewalk, but like another area next to the road.
It could be a bike path.
Yeah, and there was some puddles and mud and stuff, but it was like. It seemed like it could have been just a road, right? And then as we kept going further, more and more weeds coming around, more signs of decay, and but yeah, by about halfway, maybe a little further than halfway, really started getting like there were big cracks in the road, trees growing up through the road.
It was really interesting to see that sort of nature reclamation over asphalt.
And then we walked until basically the landslide had overtaken.
Yeah, until we couldn't go any further. So it was about an hour-ish long walk one direction.
Yeah, that's what I'd say.
It was an easy walk. I mean, there was nothing, not particularly steep or anything, and lots of really gorgeous views of the gorge, which was sort of created obviously by the river, as all gorges are, but the rock formations are relatively unique because of the way that it eroded the volcanic rocks.
They're like hexagons, long hexagon strips.
And there are, I think, some pictures of that on the Instagram too. So anyway.
And some cool waterfall. Basically, we walked to a waterfall. That was the end. That was very nice. It did remind me of Annihilation a little bit because as you go, the nature was overtaking. I mean, at the end, we were basically like walking through shrubs.
Yeah.
That were the road, and that thing's probably not going to last. That stretch of road before a chunk of it is going to go into the river in probably like the next 10 years or something like that. But there's also bears.
Yeah. So we had a whistle
and bear bell.
They're big bears too. Not little black bears, but like grizzly adjacent. I don't think they're actually grizzlies.
Yeah, he said those are really uncommon, that you can see black bears more commonly.
Okay.
I think is what he said. That if we see one, it would probably be a black bear. And, they don't want to come near us either.
We did not see. We saw 4 deer and a lot of tadpoles.
So it was a little spooky because you're in this abandoned thing. And, I felt a little bit like Natalie Portman, except I didn't have a big machine gun.
Right.
Which the book is better, by the way.
The book is very good. Okay, so anyway, if you come to Hokkaido, I highly recommend getting out of the city and going and exploring some of the countryside. Like, I would love to spend more time doing it. I would love to just have an entire trip to Hokkaido, honestly, and spend a couple of weeks here.
Oh man, the pictures of the foliage on the Kurodake was, yeah.
And I think honestly, like, the nice thing about it, at least from the images of the mountains, is you could really come in any season. We're probably here at the worst time.
Oh, but God, it was beautiful.
But it was
so nice.
Still amazing.
Yeah.
So,
he was amazed at how good it was too. He was like, I was worried it was going to be not as good, but we just couldn't ask for better weather.
Yeah, I mean, the weather was gorgeous. I mean, and there are some flowers out. We're just after cherry blossom season, although there were a couple trees that we got a chance to see. So flowers are starting to come out. You're starting to get foliage on the trees, but I think you could really come to Hokkaido in the summer and see some great wildflowers. You could come in the fall, which is beautiful. You could come in the winter if you want to be like overwhelmed by snow. And
I think May. I'm glad that we came at the right time, and we got so far we've been. That was our first full day here in Hokkaido. We're halfway through our second full day. We haven't actually left the apartment yet.
Nope.
We did some laundry.
So much laundry.
Made some food. We kind of tied one on a little bit last night.
We'll tell you more about that next time.
Yeah, but one of the things we ended the tour though is there's a bunch of hot springs. So we did some more onsen while we were there. Again, very nice.
I was lucky. So a lot, maybe not a lot. I don't know. Some of the onsen do this thing where they switch male and female sides, so you can, if you go like twice in a day, you can see different things. Because the male locker room will not be the female locker room, and vice versa.
Yeah. Or if you're there multiple days.
Or if you're there multiple days, yeah. So I was fortunate enough to get the outside baths this time. So I had this, gorgeous view of the gorge, and I had a very hot pool. It was 42 point something degrees.
Oh, really? I don't see any numbers on ours. They were probably there.
A lady came through and measured the temperatures and showed me the thermometer.
Oh, cool. Yeah, she came into ours too. And I was like, oh, all right. Yeah.
So anyway, that was a beautiful way to end the day with this, onsen, looking out over the gorge.
The one that the men had at that time when we were there, the sun was blasting in the side, and it was just all wall, ceiling to floor glass. So the room itself was kind of unbearably hot, and it was very bright because nothing was blocking it, so it was just really bright. But it was still really nice to hang out in there. I got to try a fun carbonated bath, which was like not like soda.
I had baths
but it was
with
very
lemons in them.
No, I haven't had fruit, but fruit in a bath is a thing that happens too.
Okay, we had 2 baths with lemons in them.
Nice, yeah. No, I haven't had a fruit bath yet, but the little bubbles was pretty fun. All right, well we're gonna.
Anyway, I hope that gives a sense of our enthusiasm about Hokkaido.
And man, the people here have been so friendly.
Nice. Yeah, it doesn't disappoint. And if you come to Japan, I would say
prioritize getting up here.
Yeah, definitely. You don't have to do, obviously, the route that we took. We took a very slow, sort of meander along the coast.
Yeah, you can pop up in like 2 hours on a plane, I think.
Exactly. You can take a really short flight from Tokyo. And actually, just like with the JR Pass, tourists get discounted flights.
Oh, right.
Internal discounted flights. So we paid just over $100 for both of us to fly from Aomori to Sapporo, but it would have been considerably more. I had to, show my U.S. passport, and I had to prove also that I had a plane ticket leaving Japan, that I was actually a tourist. So, so taking flights, if you're not going to do a JR Pass, is more affordable as a tourist. Yeah.
Well, in general, I think too, because on some of the YouTubes I watched, there's a lot of like day trips you can take from Tokyo that have like special tourist bundles. So, if you're coming here, definitely look for where you're going, do some research on what those bundles might be, because some of the ones that I saw for like Tokyo day trips were you'd go to this one specific station, you'd buy the like whatever that little town's pass is, you'd get, for like not a lot of money, way cheaper than it would be, you'd get your train fare both directions, and usually like a set of coupons, so you can just like go to places and be like, I want a coffee at this place, or I want to get
that's nice.
$20 free at the gift shop, kind of stuff. So those are kind of cool deals. I think Japan is really focused on tourism.
Yeah. And there are a lot of tourists here, and it's interesting because there are tourists from everywhere in the world. So
we're definitely hearing a lot more languages in Sapporo again.
Oh yeah, for sure. No, not like Aomori, where people are like, why are you here?
Yeah.
Anyway, so next episode we're going to tell you all about food and drink experiences in Sapporo, and we're going to go have some more of those food and drink experiences like right now, pretty much.
Yeah, let's do it. You can check us out at anchor.fm/rainitin. That's spelled REINITIN, all one word, no spaces, and you can leave us a message there. You can also follow us at Instagram at rainitin_podcast or email us at rainitin@ssdpress.org, also spelled REINITIN at ssdpress.org. Thanks again to all of our friends and family for all the support and for putting up with this. Have a great day.